What's going on? Matt Malatesta here. Locker Talk special guest today, Jenny Dial Creech. Cut her teeth, meaning started her kind of career in that high school world that was with the Chronicle for a long time. Now is the managing editor for Houston for The Athletic. Super happy for you to be here. But we got a lot to talk about.
So much to talk about.
What you did say is that it's a hot time for Houston.
It is.
Houston sports.
Very big time for Houston sports.
So let's start right off the jump. The hottest story is the Astros. This thing has so much legs. And I thought it was going to be like a thing. And then it just went into turbo drive as it relates to the firings and then all of it. Like, what does LeBron James want to talk about Houston Astros baseball? But it's making baseball like a national story, and the Astros are at the epicenter.
Yeah.
What is going to happen?
It's just going to be a crazy year for them. They're going to get hit by a lot of pitches. They're going to get booed everywhere they go. But I do think, just like everything else, it will die down a little. I was talking to someone about this recently. You know, I live in Katy, Texas now, and you know how. So everyone always hates teams that are good, right? So Katy is kind of used to that.
Yes.
Like they get that a lot.
The fatigue.
And also, people will constantly bring up that year, like 96 or 97, when they had the ineligible player.
Yes.
Like when Katy had that player. They'll still bring that up. Like that was almost 30 years ago or whatever.
I kind of remember that too.
You know what I mean? But people still bring that up and they still hate them. So it just goes to show you how much just the thought of cheating really rubs people the wrong way. And like a Katy team 30 years ago,
right. They still got beef on that.
Kind of unknowingly cheated, and people still hate them for it. Well, the Astros knowingly cheated. A lot of people were involved. And there are a lot of people that are really, you know, quite frankly, they're pissed off about it. And I get it. I understand why people are. I also understand why Astros fans are like, let's just move on, and they're not going to do it again. But at the same time, it's like, it's a tough thing to get over, especially if you're the Yankees or Dodgers. Like, I get it. I'd be mad too.
But do you think, and everybody's like falls back on it, oh my gosh, everybody's cheating. Do you think everybody is doing some sort of trying to create the edge for their team? Or was this was over the top?
In some ways, sure. I think everybody's always looking for ways to win, right? And I think that sign stealing happens in a lot of places, but this certainly was a little over the top when you have like hidden cameras and banging trash cans, and it's pretty elaborate, right? Is everybody doing that? No, they're not.
No.
Are a couple of other teams maybe doing it? Sure, I can believe that, but I've never been a fan of that excuse. It comes up with anything that any team ever does wrong. Well, other people are doing it too. Doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean that you should stand behind that as an excuse.
So you're on board. You're like on board. They're making the playoffs, and they're going to be really good this year.
I think they'll make the playoffs. I think they're a very good team. I think, I do understand the idea of, like, even if you know what pitch is coming, you still have to hit it.
Right,
you have to be good enough. It's an unfair edge. It's absolutely cheating. Don't get me wrong. They cheated, and it was a bad thing to do. And is the punishment enough? I don't really know. Should some of the players be punished? I don't know. They have a great players union that protected them from that. So, I mean, good job to all those people for really taking care of their players. Do I think they should be stripped of a title? I think that's a slippery slope. I think you'd have to go back to all the steroid. I mean, there's just a lot involved. But I 1,000% think it's okay for the rest of the league to be really angry and to be mad and to boo them. And I think that the Astros, we're going to learn a lot about kind of the character of that team because they're going to have to deal with it.
I'm telling you, it's going to be all year long.
It's going to be tough. These are guys that get paid millions of dollars. And I think they can probably go home at night and get past it. The death threat stuff is way too much. People are stupid.
Yes.
On social media. Like, it's baseball. Like, no one deserves to die for stealing signs. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard. But I do think it's okay for them to get booed and for fans to be angry.
They're going to get roasted.
Yeah. I mean, they just became the most hated team of any sport, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that... I mean, for a while you had, like, the Warriors, but, I mean, they were just hated because they were so good. Like, the Astros were good, but now people are questioning really how good were they? And I mean, the answer is we'll never know. That's a great baseball team that won in 2017. I was there for every playoff game. That was a fantastic baseball team. But it's certainly, look, there. I mean, there's an asterisk by it now. It's unfortunate.
So I think they're good. I think the mental warfare on them is just going to wear them down.
That'll be interesting.
Or it's going to do one or two things. Or it's going to rally them and they're like, it's us against the world.
So much to
We're going undefeated.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, to really quell all of this, not whining, but this, anger by people, I think if they win, they go out and win, then I think that kind of heals all wounds.
Yeah, I think they're a playoff team, no doubt. I don't know if I think they're a World Series team. I certainly thought that last year, but I think aside from all the cheating and mental aspect of it, I think obviously losing Garrett Cole is huge. And if this wasn't going on, I feel like that's what we would be talking about. Like, what do you do about that? But we can't. It's really hard just to talk about the baseball part of it right now because that's still so fresh in everyone's mind. But we'll get to that point eventually where we're really talking about this team and their personnel and what the chances really are. And it's, and I think Dusty Baker is a great manager. I thought AJ Hinch was a great manager and a good dude. Like, I'll miss having him around, but I certainly think Baker is capable of taking this team far, so it'll be interesting to see.
All right, so switching gears. I never thought I was going to be sitting on the couch on a Saturday watching the XFL. And I don't know why I'm liking it. Maybe I'm coming off of like a football LSU championship and then you know what I'm saying?
That was a humble brag. Okay.
Humble brag. So then I don't know what it is, but I'm kind of getting down with the XFL, the rules, but maybe it's just football, but not the Texans, the Roughnecks, I don't even know their name. They can ball.
Again.
They got a good quarterback.
Again.
Good coaching. Oliver Luck, of course, is from here. He's the commissioner of the league.
Yeah.
And the Super Bowl is played here, and the Texans are good. Do you think this thing catches on and continues?
I don't know.
It's hard to say.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I think the rules are entertaining. Like, it's an entertaining brand of football. I think for you and I, who have always followed college football, you're seeing these guys like pop up.
That's what I love.
Right? Like, you're seeing a Sammy Coates, PJ Walker, the quarterback here in Houston, Landry Jones. Like, I went to Oklahoma. Landry Jones is playing professional football, you know. Bob Stoops is coaching. June Jones is here. I think there's a lot of those guys that we enjoyed watching so much, like mid 2000s, that it's kind of cool to watch a game and see these names pop up.
I love it.
But it's, how long does that go on? Like, how long do we think that's cool before it's like, okay, that was cool, and now it's done? I don't know. Like, I'll be interested to see how it does during March Madness when there's basketball games going on. And then, like, you mentioned the championship game. I think it's, good for Houston for getting that, but it's at like 2:00 on a Thursday afternoon during school. So I don't know, like,
weird.
What that's gonna exactly.
I don't think people know that. I didn't know that.
It's on a Thursday, which it's not like a holiday Thursday. It's just.
Is it like on St. Patrick's Day or something?
No, it's like in the middle of April.
Weird.
But it was probably kind of the time they could for sure get it on TV and whatever, which might be all they need to do. So we'll see. I'm all for a sports league making it if the players are treated well, if they're, not like that other one what was it, the AFL?
AFF or something.
Where, like, they weren't getting paid and it was just, they're like taking Greyhound buses. Like, I don't want any of that. But if you have a league that people are supporting and it gets people out, I always think it's better to get out and watch a football game on a Saturday afternoon than sit inside and play video games, right?
Amen to that.
If that works, then great.
Here's my real question, and I've had this argument. Do any of these guys, is this like the minor leagues of NFL football. I don't know that it is. Did any of these guys kind of take that step and get a look if they got good tape?
I'm curious,
to the NFL?
like, because you're watching the PJ Walker guy, like,
bad.
I'd be curious about what he could do in the NFL as a backup, right? So that will be really interesting, like how many NFL coaches are paying attention. A lot of these guys were guys that were on like practice squads in the NFL, but never really got a chance to play. Will this be a stepping stone for them to get to play? I don't know, but I mean, it's kind of cool.
Maybe.
Kind of cool to find out.
So then that brings us to the Rockets.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I'm just NBA. The Kobe thing was that really moved the needle on the NBA and everybody kind of getting to follow that. NBA All-Star game, really cool. I love the rule.
NBA All-Star this year
was
fantastic. Yeah.
But do the Rockets? I mean, staying in Houston, are you in love with them and what they do? Or is this the end of the Harden era?
I might be the wrong person to ask, just simply because like basketball is my favorite, NBA is my favorite thing.
Right.
So like I'm all in on the NBA. And I think the Rockets are the most interesting team to watch. Like what they're doing, going all in on small ball, Russ and Harden. I think James Harden is the most entertaining basketball player to watch right now because no one can figure out what he's doing. No one has really successfully learned how to consistently guard James Harden. Some teams have figured out something once, but then when they tried again, by the time he gets back out there, he's figured out how to deal with it. And I think that's fascinating. There's only a handful of guys in the history of basketball who have changed the way you have to play defense. And James Harden's one of those guys. So I don't know how many people recognize that right this second, but I think it's something we'll be talking about for years to come. So for me, I can kind of get in the moment and appreciate it. I also understand that like the season is long. There's a lot going on. Really, when it's going to pick up, I think the most, it's like you see a lot of interest in the Rockets right when they start, especially when they add a guy like Westbrook.
Right.
People want to know what's up. And then in that playoff push, and then obviously in the playoffs. And so we're kind of in that weird space right now where people are like, oh, whatever. I think in about a month,
it's going to get hot.
You know, where are the Rockets? Are they going to be number 3 or are they going to be number 6? Because once again, that's what the Western Conference is like. Then I think people are really going to jump on board and be a little more interested. But like you said earlier, I mean, the Astros have been everything everyone is talking about right now. And I think that steals a little bit from the Rockets, certainly. The Texans aren't stealing anyone's attention for any reason whatsoever right now. And then
they are horrific.
They're really not very good.
they're just
you know what kills me though?
Oh, man.
They should be good.
They should be good.
That's
they should be awesome.
What's so difficult about the Texans. I think for a lot of fans, it's you look at the people on this team. Like Deshaun Watson is the easiest guy in the world to cheer for anything. And then they win enough games that they're not bad. But like if you're watching them enough, you're also like, but they can't win it all.
No, they're never winning all.
And so you can't really get that excited
O'Brien
about them.
just,
and it's so frustrating because they should just be torching people.
He is unlikable.
He's he's
unlikable.
That's a good word.
Don't get why they're just so like pushing all their chips on the Bill O'Brien
I don't know.
card. I don't get that.
Just all their eggs are in that basket.
So weird.
He's Mr. Everything.
Yes.
He might own the team next week.
Okay, so what are you watching? If you're Netflixing, what are you watching right now? Because I mean, or not even Netflixing. I mean, are you a Bachelor?
No, you know what? I've never watched The Bachelor.
You're missing out, girl. Yeah, you're missing out.
That's what I hear, but you know what? I've never liked the idea of it, so I've just never gotten on board. I'm sure if I sat down and watched it, I would like it.
You could love it.
But like just from the very beginning of it, I was like, man, of course they're gonna make a bunch of women fight over some guy that's probably not worth your time. So I just never got on that train. I mean, I have an almost 2-year-old, so there's a lot of like Moana and Cars happening. But
I've been there.
Which aren't bad. Like,
they're not terrible. They're not terrible.
If you go to watch Frozen 2 a few times, it's not the worst
thing
in the world.
No.
So we do a lot of that, and then we usually have some sports on. My husband's a big EPL guy, so we the weekend mornings are a lot of soccer.
Oh man,
yeah, I know.
I'm in a group chat. I'm in an SEC group chat. We have literally 4 or 5 people that are complete psychos about soccer, and I'm just like,
I'm not a soccer person. I never have been a big soccer person.
No.
But when I went to London to cover the Texans, played in London this year, and when I went, my husband met me and he took me to a game, and I felt it. I understood it more than you do here.
Yeah.
Like the way people are into it, and the quality of what I was watching was really quite good. I like a lot of people who play soccer, and I like a lot of people who like soccer.
You like them because they're all hot. They're like, those are so hot playing soccer.
I mean, they're not ugly, but
exactly.
I also I so appreciate like the U.S. women's team and everything they've done. I have like massive appreciation, and I'll sit and watch those games. But it is hard for me to like get. It's just this, I struggle with sports that can tie. I really struggle with the sport that can tie.
And there's so much.
Bothers me.
There's not that much scoring, and it seems seasonal. So that brings me to my next thing. You're getting down with the Olympics. People don't even realize the Olympics are going to happen. They're getting ready to happen in the summer.
I feel like people realize they're going to happen.
And you are right. We do have some people that are.
We have the best Olympian ever in Houston, in Simone Biles.
She's a beast. She's tiny.
The easiest person to cheer for to do anything.
She's as big as that can there.
She's so fantastic.
She is really cool.
She's just such a fantastic athlete, human, role model, everything. It's so, like, I think that's so awesome that she's from Houston and that you have like this extra, we'd root for her anyway.
Right.
Like there's this whole added layer that she's like
she's Houstonian.
It's so cool.
Cassidy Cook is also from the Woodlands Diver. She'll probably get in. Who else is gonna move? Who else is gonna?
Manuel from Fort Bend,
swimmer?
The swimmer.
Yeah, that's right. I forgot about her
too. I mean, you know what? There's still trials going on, so we'll find out more and more. There's a few boxers here. We've got a weightlifter from Clear Lake who won the U.S.'s first gold medal in the sport at the last Olympics. She should be back this year. Her name is Sarah Robles. She's super cool too. And then what I'm pumped about, like softball is back this year.
I'm a fan of softball.
Like I thought that was, I know I'm not alone. Like softball going away from the Olympics was one of the biggest errors ever made.
It didn't make any sense why they would get rid of that.
Awful. It was an awful decision, and it's back. And Kat Osterman is making her return. She is one of the oldest people on that team, which is funny.
Did she get Adobe?
She's younger than me. Osterman was Cy
She went to somewhere in Houston. Yeah, okay.
Cy Springs, I think. If it wasn't Cy Springs, I apologize. It was one of the Cypress schools.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what.
And then UT Austin, and now she made the team. Like she went back to training and she made the team, which I think is really awesome.
Well, this is such a hotbed for softball. There are so many amazing softball players here, high school wise, and they scatter all over the country. But they're playing. I think the U.S. Olympic team is playing here and training over in Fort Bend at the Skeeters. Right. And there's a bunch of other high school kids that are the team that they're playing. Yeah. So these girls are like, oh my gosh, this is the dream come true. Blah,
and
blah,
it is. I mean, how amazing
it's a fast sport too. It's really
cool.
fast, which I like.
I mean, no offense at all to baseball, which I really do like.
I know where you're going.
Man, I can sit and watch softball all day.
And volleyball.
It's almost all small ball. Like there's a lot of movement. It's not as much like people aren't just swinging for the fences. It's a little more strategic. I love it. I live down the street from Katy High School, and there's so many times I pass by that they're like out practicing or playing. I'm like, man, I gotta stop and watch.
I mean, it is a fun sport. So then, tell people about your path. You kind of started. You went to OU, but then when you were with the Chronicle and we crossed paths so much, you were doing some high school sports and then elevated really quickly, and now you're the managing editor of the Athletic, which was awesome, dude. Everybody's like, so kind of tell us the path of how you got there.
I started here actually as the Comets writer and a high school reporter.
Comets.
And I loved both. It was really
Van
cool.
Chancellor, you probably loved. He was
what?
Van Chancellor,
Van
the coach.
Awesome. The best, yeah. And I loved covering high school football here. It was so fun. Those early days, I mean, it was like, gosh, Andy Dalton was still playing at Katy. And then like we had like Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
And I mean, so many, we could just go down the list. So many great players. And that was a blast.
It was a blast.
It's still, even last year, right before I left the Chronicle, one of the last things I did was cover this past state football because I wanted to.
Isn't that
Because
cool?
I could. And I could choose to. And to me, like high school football is still just...
The best.
I mean, it's so great. And I did that for several years. I moved up. I covered the Rockets for a long time. And then I was an editor briefly at the Chronicle before becoming a columnist. And I covered everything.
How was that? What's been the most favorite job besides the job you have now? Before that?
I think, the Chronicle... It was very tough to leave the Chronicle. It was a great place with great people. This was just a really cool opportunity. I have nothing bad to say at all about the Chronicle. Great people, everyone should read it every day, as far as I'm concerned. I think being a columnist was the most important job I had because I covered a lot of topics that had some meat to them that needed to be out there, like some of the issues in sports, like domestic violence and sexual assault, and the things that I think we should be talking about. But those are harder. But I think it was more important. But I think just flat out most fun. I mean, it's a toss up between high school football and the Rockets.
In the NBA. I can see that.
I mean, I started covering the Rockets right with like James Harden, Dwight Howard when they first kind of came back on the map and made it to the Western Conference Finals with those two. It was just a really fun time to cover it. Yeah.
So now with The Athletic, it's just kind of a different model, right?
Yeah, it's all digital, all online,
and
no
it's,
ads, all sports. Yeah.
It's kind of what media is going to. Like, it's based on great content.
Yeah, so it's not deadline driven or you need to have story every day or content every day. It's sink your teeth in, write something really good. And that's what appealed to me in a different way, was being able to work on some bigger stuff, some bigger projects. The writers I have here are so fantastic. I was excited to work with them and excited to see it grow. And they're like we were just talking about, there's just so much to cover in Houston, and
there is.
And it's cool to kind of be in front of that and kind of see what's working and what people are reading and give them more of that.
Favorite coaching, doesn't have to be high school, but favorite coaching that you just love to see them in action as it relates to coaches in this area?
Probably Kelvin Sampson at
He's
UH.
intense.
Yeah, so I went to OU when he was there and got to know him a little bit there, and so it's really cool for me to see him here. But man, I could watch his teams play all day. I think they're great. I really think it's cool to cover a Mike D'Antoni team. He's just an offensive genius, and to kind of see how that's piecing together. He's doing what a lot of people would be way too scared to do, and maybe it will win him something, and maybe it won't. But man, it's fun to watch. I've always been a very big fan of Gary Joseph. I think he's great. North Shore has been a blast to watch. John Kay is such a nice guy too, so you love to see it. And it's really cool for me just kind of across the board, some of these coaches that were around when I was covering, a lot of them have retired, but the ones who are still around, when I get to run into them, I think it's
really cool.
Really fun. I mean, I mentioned Katy softball earlier. Like it's cool to see like Judy Willick and Caleb Hacks still at it, and to see it paying off, because I know what great coaches they are.
And that's what we talk about a lot is, like, if you can do it in Texas and in Houston, the coaching is just set up to win. Like if you go to Louisiana or California, it's just, they don't invest in their coaches like, let's say, the UIL does or whatever. They have such great infrastructure in place.
High school coaches are the best people in the world too. Like, I just feel, I've always said this, like, if we put some of the world's problems in the hands of a high school coach who has a locker room full of kids from all different walks of life, like, he could handle it. I feel like high school coaches are just the best people at dealing with different personalities, just different issues that pop up, and making it all work for one common goal. Like, they're just the best people in the world.
And they make a lot of quick decisions too. A lot of quick decisions.
But you walk into some of these teams and these kids, like, they might never be friends outside of sports, and then they're like working together to achieve something big. I get chills at every state, anything for for high school sports.
Yes, I agree.
There's nothing like I've been to the Super Bowl. It doesn't compare to like state football. It's just not the same. I think high school coaches are just the best people in the world. So I'm always very grateful that I covered so many of them. And like I said, I can't really stay away from them. I keep finding things to still write about so I can pop back in.
So what is your son going to play? What are you going to allow him to play? Because you're probably going to be like, you're not playing football.
I mean, if he really wanted to play football, we'd talk about it. But, you know.
We talk about it.
But truthfully, he is, and I mean, we live in Katy. He might want to play football.
Right.
But he's going to be very tall. My husband is like 6'6", 6'7", and then I'm 5'10". I mean, and he's not even 2 yet. He's like in the 99th percentile for height. He's going to be very, very tall. So I'd actually love to see him become a swimmer, but like basketball is certainly on the table. Swimmer. I mean, like minimal injuries, kind of some longevity.
You see, there goes the mom talk. A lot of mom talk.
Well, just from covering sports for so long,
I know.
You kind of see where
broken down people are.
You know, torn ACLs and concussions and all kinds of stuff. But my husband was a college swimmer, so
that makes sense.
I think that in theory he could have that kind of Michael Phelps build and be pretty good at it. Maybe he'll want to be a pitcher. He'll be tall pitcher.
Dude, lefty. Go hard lefty.
I do put stuff in his left hand a lot. Yeah, that's not really a mom thing. But yeah, he can throw a ball pretty good so far. He likes to kick.
Yeah.
You know.
So when you're watching or reading stuff, who are you watching and reading? Like, who do you like to see in the journalism world? In the sports world,
I mean,
who do you like?
There's so many.
Yeah.
There's so many. I watch a lot, obviously, of ESPN because they've got content all day, every day. And they're really good about using women on camera, which I think is thrilling to see, obviously. And I have a few friends that do stuff for them that do really great. Michelle Steele is always one of my favorites. Mina Kimes, I think, is a must-watch.
She's
all
killing
the time. Sarah Spain's great. I mean, I could list.
How about Hannah Storm, originally from Houston?
A Houstonian. I could sit here and list women all day long. Not that there's anything wrong with the men there, obviously.
Right.
And then, obviously, I think a lot of great writers at The Athletic were people I was following anyway, just even on that national level. Lindsey Jones is a great NFL writer. If you're not following her, she's great. Sam Amick on the NBA. The local guys here. And then, I mean, you have to follow some of these chronicles. You have to read everything John McClane writes all the time, right?
He's the general.
You just do. And then, obviously, our boy Sam Kahn, I follow him pretty closely still. Yeah, I could go on and on. I think it's really important to read everyone, watch everyone, support each other. We're all better when we're all good. Well
said. All right. So that wraps it up. Hey, we got some great, juicy info out here. This is Jenny Dow Creech. She's the managing editor of The Athletic for the Houston area. We've crossed paths a million times.
And we'll do it again.
We will do it again. Thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
What's up, everybody? Hey, if you love that video, go like it, comment, and also spike it, the subscribe button, to follow all of our videos on our YouTube channel to keep up with all of the great content we're pushing out on a daily basis.